A couple of years ago, I uploaded my original review of this Iver Johnson Eagle XL. Since then, I've had the opportunity to shoot a substantial number of rounds through it. Over the years, I've owned several long slide 1911s, but prior to buying this Iver Johnson, I'd never actually owned a long slide chambered in 10mm. The others I mentioned were chambered in 45 ACP, which is of course a great target and self-defense round. But as a dedicated handgun hunter, I prefer using a more potent caliber. For me, a 6-inch barrel 1911 chambered in 10mm would be just a ticket for use as a hunting handgun. Seeing that this Eagle XL came with fully adjustable sights, also allows it to double as an extended range target pistol. Few will argue that the 10mm isn't a seriously potent handgun cartridge. In recent years, the 10mm has actually become the preferred semi-auto handgun round for defending against bear attacks in big bear country like Alaska. I found this Eagle XL to be a very comfortable and smooth shooting 1911. In fact, I've found it to be the softest shooting 10mm in my collection. This Eagle XL slide design has a lot to do with that. To begin with, the longer barrel and slide actually does dampen a bit of felt recoil, a little more than a standard 5-inch 1911. The porting also mitigates a bit of muzzle whip, allowing you to get back on target a little bit faster. The material removed for the porting reduces some of the nose weight at the muzzle, allowing this 1911 to balance a lot more like a standard 1911. In my opinion, Iver Johnson did a great job in designing this slide. Seeing this Eagle XL is only modestly priced, it actually doesn't come with some of the refinements you'd expect to see on a higher-end 1911. A while back I uploaded a video featuring this Eagle XL going through some pretty simple to do performance enhancements, which I recommend doing to any semi-auto. Like I said in that video, anytime I can take a good running 1911 and make it even better, I consider it to be time well spent. I'll leave a link below to that video for those of you interested. Something I did notice about this Eagle XL is that somewhere around the 2,000 round mark, the recoil springs seem to be just on the edge of becoming too sluggish to properly cycle the slide. That's actually not uncommon for a standard 1911 chambered in 45 ACP that's nearing the 5,000 round mark, but then again, this is a 10mm 1911 with a longer and heavier slide, firing a much higher intensity cartridge. Taking all of that into account could explain the recoil spring's shorter service life. To be on the safe side, I decided to go ahead and replace it. Having prior experience with long slide 1911s had already clued me to the fact that you just can't head over to your local gun shop and purchase another recoil spring, like you can for a standard 5-inch 1911, particularly if they're for a 10mm 460 Roland or something along those lines. Wolf Gun Springs carries one of the best selections of gun springs around. This includes springs for long slide 1911s. After a little bit of experimentation, I settled on their number 2 long slide spring. These springs don't actually come with a specific weight rating. A number 1 is their strongest recoil spring, a number 2 is their next strongest, and so forth. These springs will of course have to be trimmed to fit your particular 1911. Which will also allow you to fine-tune any non-standard length slide to properly cycle with the type of ammo you shoot. Long story short, installing the new recoil spring corrected the problem. It also prompted me to keep a couple of extras on hand for future use. To be clear, I don't even remotely consider the deal with a recoil spring to be a black mark against this Eagle XL. It simply alerted me to the maintenance requirements for this particular handgun, and that's all. That said, some of you may have noticed the new grips on this Eagle XL. My wife got these for me, just like she did the first set, the rosewood and bonded ivory. A while back she came in and handed me a package from Buffalo Brothers. Inside were these gorgeous ivory American Eagles. She insisted that these would look great on this Eagle XL, and I have to admit they certainly do. The minute I installed these ivory Eagles, she absconded with the rosewood grips. The next thing I know, those grips are sitting on her Dan Wesson. I usually hate it when she slips one in on me that easily, but this time I think I'm going to protect my man card by just sitting back and letting it slide. Well, it's either that or admit that she was right. To sum all of this up, I found this Eagle XL to be an excellent 1911. It's accurate, reliable, and a real pleasure to shoot. For the money, you're going to be hard-pressed to beat it. Well, that pretty much winds up my latest thoughts on this Iver Johnson Eagle XL. Until next time, practice often, shoot straight, and thanks for stopping by.